Hello everybody and welcome back. I am KRX, so we're going to be doing another sort of quick start guide, opening moves, and sort of just looking at a country's sort of general strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, sort of a SWOT analysis, just at getting started, kind of setting up the country, right? And we're going to do it for Portugal, and I think what we're going to try to do is we're going to actually do it for all of the countries that we've already played and have a little bit of expertise on, or the countries and also the countries that we've actually set up specifically as tutorial series, right? We have a tutorial series for complete beginners for Portugal. Now this is not explicitly going to be for complete beginners. It's going to be a little bit more of a quick start thing, which could be useful to someone maybe if they just wanted a kind of a summary of the things that we're looking at. Of course, anything we do now is we're going to be just looking at the situation of Portugal and devising a strategy and stuff based on Portugal, talking a little bit about the country and so on and so forth, and maybe thinking about sort of commentating what we might be sort of leaning towards or pushing towards in the future. But for the most part, everything we do here could be applied to any country, right? In terms of the process of developing what we're going to do, right? Not necessarily the specifics of it, but how we get to, how we sort of determine what we're going to do. That's the same process that we would use for any country. In some of these SWOT analysis and opening moves that we've done on this channel, we've done a bunch of them. We're going to continue to do a lot of them. A lot of them, actually, we just do random nations. We actually just randomly select a nation from the main menu, and we just go into it, and it's probably a nation we've never played, and we just, we develop these sort of little sort of strategy guides. But it's not about the guides, it's not about the strategy, it's about the process of building that up from the ground up, right? Building the it's the process of building the strategy. So with Portugal, what do we got going on here? Well, we are at the edge of the known world here. We are a Catholic nation. Castile is historically one of our good friends, and Aragon here is doing their own thing, and eventually Castile and Aragon might actually sort of buddy up and become Spain. Of course, we could become Spain as well, as any of the Christian Iberian nations sort of have the option to form Spain. We could do it militarily or diplomatically or who knows what, right? Because we have some interesting missions. We are using all of the DLCs for this particular run, which is why I also said that this is not for complete beginners. So we do have all the DLCs, including the Golden Century DLC that gives this really fancy, like, expansive mission tree here. And this is pretty intense, but this does eventually give us permanent claims on the Iberia region, like the entire region of Iberia. And having the English alliance apparently ties into some of this. This will be part of what we do in our Get Started thing, is setting some of this stuff up. But I believe somewhere in here there's actually missions to potentially control. We might get options to either PU some of these countries or control some of these countries, and so on and so forth. So, which is kind of neat. Maybe they actually tweaked this a little bit, to be honest. But we're certainly also going to have a lot of countries that say, so build up to 100% of our naval force limit. That will give us a permanent claim on Tangiers. Tangiers right here. So we already control Ceuta, so that's one of the interesting things about this country, is we're a little broken up there. Once we own Tangiers, we'll get permanent claims on basically like a big chunk down here. Once we do that, we'll continue to get, we'll be able to sort of complete this mission to expand the buffer zone. We have a lot of missions for colonizing, sort of here it's saying beyond Cape Bojador. And we'll get extra settler chance and prestige and all kinds of things. So lots of colonialism going on there. So this actually, we get this permanent claims on Galicia. So we'll get permanent claims on basically a big chunk up here. And that is essentially just for having the English alliance, having a good positive relationship. What if the following must be true? All the following must be true. Allied with England, 100 opinion of England. Or England does, or rival to England? England is a rival, and England does not exist. So if we come up here, we just don't have enough opinion, right? So we could butter up England and get that done, get some claims on Castile. I don't necessarily think we're going to be attacking Castile like that necessarily, but there you go. Yeah, if we end up controlling a lot of this, it looks like we'll then get permanent claims on the rest of the things. In fact, if we have a flagship, we'll get a bunch of free claims. So actually, it doesn't look like we have any option for personal union over Castile, but it looks like we do just have an option to just attack, 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 attack. And the thing is, that's kind of an interesting play, because if we had Aragon as a friend, maybe that wouldn't be too difficult to actually accomplish there. So Morocco is definitely going to be an issue, or an enemy, I should say. Castile actually likes us. I mean, we could use Castile to potentially butter up, or to help us against Morocco. We could actually use them, promise them land, not give it to them. Have that be what breaks the alliance there, and have us actually attacking Castile. Castile ends up having some issues at the beginning, especially if they don't get the early alliance with Aragon. We could just ally Aragon and just bypass Castile and just see how that goes. Kind of depends how aggressively we want to play. If we were a new player, I would say you absolutely ally Castile and you just hunker down and you focus on trade and colonization and stuff like that. But you know what? At the start here, dang, we actually start with 3 diplomats. That's kind of luxurious there. Let's butter up England, because we have that mission to do so. In fact, actually, royal marriage. Royal marriage them, boom, that gets us up to 100. That mission's now done. Done. That actually puts them up to 200 opinion. Holy cow, there we go. And that gives us permanent claims on all of this area. So we have a means of attacking Castile kind of on demand now, which is kind of nice. If we look at Aragon, they're actually rival to Castile. That would be kind of interesting. This would be the bold play. The bold play, I think, would be, let's rival Morocco, Granada, and Morocco. Yeah, we don't have a means of actually attacking Tlemcen, so the fact that we could rival them is kind of unnecessary. And then the bold play would be to come in and rival Castile, get in and ultimately try to secure the alliance with Aragon. We could also look to France. France won't like us because we're allied to England, so that's going to be a no-go. England's not going to be a particularly useful alliance at the beginning because they have tons of issues that they're dealing with, plus France is going to be attacking them and hammering them, so... what we probably want to do is we want to build up... Actually, do we get claims on Granada? Because we're probably going to want to build up... have at least one colonist. Lower Andalusia area. Lower Andalusia. Wait a second. What is this area here? This is Upper Andalusia. So it's called Lower Andalusia. Or it's called Upper. Years. Permanent claims in the Terra region. But to be honest, to do this, we'd have to have... Yeah, this is way in the long term. Way in the long term. So we don't get any quick claims on... No, we don't get any quick claims on Granada from what I can tell. Wine monopolies. Trading enough wine. Okay, trade steering, that's all in the far future there. It's a cool, really cool little mission tree, to be honest. Lots of trading, lots of colonizing, lots of conquering. Portugal is a pretty fun country to play. You get to do kind of it all there with Portugal. Let's actually build up a spy network here, because we're going to want to beat Castile to Granada. Ideally, the other way you play this is you do this, but you force Castile into the war with Granada and you dictate the terms of what they get. That's the other way you can play this, and you kind of body block them from getting any of Granada. And then you just sort of slowly suffocate them like that. But in this case, I think we're just going to race down there, grab what we want, and go with it. So we're going to build up the claims on Granada here. We're going to have permanent claims on Tangiers as soon as we actually get our full naval force limit, which we are only 3 ships away from doing. We have a good heavy ship fleet at the moment. I think we're one of the largest heavy ships in the world. We can go to navies and look at this. Morocco is one of the other larger navies in the entire world too, though. So they're likely to build some more ships eventually, but right now we're about neck and neck with them. Don't know who they're going to ally yet. It's very expensive to build the heavies, but if we did, it would be certainly it'd be a good thing. I think we're gonna build the lights. We're gonna build the lights. We might build one heavy. We're gonna lower army maintenance down to zilch here. Try to make as much money as we can per month. In a few months, we'll be able to build the third light, and that will get us up to our force limit of our naval force limit of 22. We're making enough money that we could absolutely hire an advisor, except for we can't afford to purchase them right now. Improved relationship guy is very good, just in general. Land maintenance modifier dude would actually save us a little bit of money, potentially, or at least sort of help pay for himself, as it would cut the naval maintenance, or the military maintenance a little bit. Should be good. If we look at our trade situation here, we have one guy that's pushing up from Safi. We need to be collecting here with our other. Actually, how much are you actually moving over? 0.2? And we'd only be collecting 32% of that 0.2? We'll have to play around with trade when we unpause the game. We'll have to see if it's going to be better to have someone in Seville or pushing towards Seville. I think this number is going to go down. I don't think that's going to stay at a 7. Yeah, down here it says 3.5. So I think that number is a little, just hasn't updated, right? The trades are always a little messed up at the start of the game. We need to seize land, get rid of that negative modifier there, go into the clergy stuff where we can make it cheaper to hire advisors. Actually, that's perfect. That'll make it so we can actually afford an advisor, which is kind of cool. Do the 10-10, the 10 loyalty, 10 influence. That's a good one to hit. The rest of that is fine. We'll just kind of leave some available slots here to fill them in later. Making the cheaper advisors is good. Manpower is going to be an important thing. Fighting in Northern Africa really burns your manpower, so that is going to be important long term. I don't know if we need it right now, but we will leave room for us to be able to swing in and do that. It does increase the influence, which is good and bad, right? Because revoking this stuff, then we'd have to get the loyalty up. 10% tax modifier, though. I don't think we're going to mess with that right now. We're going to try to keep our economy as strong as possible. It's one of the weaknesses of Portugal. Oh no. Okay, light ship got here. Let's go down here. Let's undo these, right? We should get our full, yep, we're getting our full money back. Let's go here and make sure we set this light ships minus 20% cost. So now when we go in here, we should be able to build them for 16. Perfect. That with that money left and the savings that we have now from enacting the other policies, I think we can come here. We can enable this guy, although I want to see, do we have a tax guy? We do have a tax guy. He might be a little bit better. Taxation is at, yeah, 5. Yeah, that's much higher than the amount of money that we're paying for our Navy. Man, I'm almost tempted to get both of them. We don't quite have enough money. We're only 1 month away from being able to afford this guy. Get that guy online too. Speaking of which, what do we want to focus on? We might focus on military because we're so disproportional there. That's going to be 746. I like that. I think that's good. We have a regency for 3 years, I'm noticing. We don't have quite enough military power to roll a general, but oh, we actually have some good generals. Nice, we have some good generals, including an explorer. We could actually take some of our ships. And we could actually have you guys exploring the west coast of Africa. These other 2 ships, we're going to want you guys to protect trade in Seville. And make sure you guys come home at war. Same with you guys. So that's all set up there. So we have extra trade range, colonial range, I mean, and trade efficiency is what we're starting off with as Portugal. Of course, we're a Catholic nation. We talked about that a little bit. We're building up the spy network on Granada. We have a good general right now, 333. We've done our estates. I think this is basically, we are kind of in the situation of good to go. We do have some Moroccan separatists here, but it's not a big deal. It's going to take 30-something years for those guys to pop up, so that's not going to happen. I think for the most part, we're kind of ready to go. We're going to try to sneak out some Granada before Castile could take advantage of that. We're going to try to beat up Morocco as there's a good positive moment to do so. It does look like Aragon might desire this land, which could be a good thing in terms of getting them into a supporting war to help us against Morocco. Ideally, what you do is you use Castile and you come down here and you beat up these guys, and it's not too big of a deal. Morocco is pretty strong at the start of the game. We could attack Morocco as Castile's attacking them. All kinds of things can happen. So we're going to be kind of just building our economy, focusing on strengthening up our navy and stuff like that, looking for opportunities against Morocco, but also just making sure that when it's time to attack Granada, we're quick with the button on that one. All right, guys, I think that's a good sort of setup for Portugal. We've looked at the sort of economy, we've looked at trade, we've done some production, we've talked about sort of the situation. We've sort of made a strategy to abandon the historical alliance with Castile and actually go for a little bit more of a bold, aggressive actions against Castile, and so on and so forth. So thanks everybody for watching. I will see you guys in the next one, where we will be doing the opening moves for Portugal and actually seeing how some of these things unfold and seeing how some of these plans and ideas that we have actually turn out. So thanks everybody. I will see you guys in the next one.